going on, everyone? It's Dan, and welcome back to another episode of Review of Movies. Today we're going to be looking at The Thing, which is a 2011 prequel and directed by Matthias Van Hayden Jr. So this film has definitely a lot to explain, and definitely a lot that just became a big mess. So yeah, so without further ado, let's just get into the review. So starting out the review, this is, like I said, a prequel that was released in 2011 with a budget of $35 million. Now, of course, there's mainly a lot of like American, English, Canadian, and Norwegian actors, which is definitely the most nationality type actors I've seen. Now, of course, there's Mary Elizabeth Winstead playing Kate, which is probably the most recognizable actor that's definitely in this film. And yes, it's pretty much taken a lot of the things from the original and then just plotted into here. Although, yeah, it pretty much tells the story of what happened at the Norwegian base that McCready, played by Kurt Russell, and Dr. Copper, played by Richard Dystart, back in the original, they explored a Norwegian base that was just destroyed and burned down. Pretty much, this movie shows what happened. Now, man, this movie's just got a lot of mixed bags for me, because honestly it's just not good, because there's just not much to it. There's of course, now the original, they went full out practical effects, and it ended up with someone going to the hospital because of no sleep. In the end, it ended up becoming an amazing film. This film, however, this one was just a big disaster for another. Like, I mean, this picture right here, this shows a picture of pretty much the only scene that has practical effects. I mean, everything else, they went full out CG. They planned a lot of things. They planned a lot of, practical effect type things. Pretty much they built the transformations at first, and then they were just like, we'll just go full out CG. Which then just kind of just ruins it. It ruins the entire thing. And honestly, there was nothing else that could just hold back. Like, yeah, they showed, there was one creature that they made that would have went with the storyline, but then they didn't want that. They wanted something else, and they made it all out of CG. And so, in fact, although the previous film, they went slow with it, they made it look very slow, like slow pace, like this. Meanwhile, this prequel, it just goes like poof. Or sometimes it just cuts through everything. And, although a lot of the transformations are pretty much just terrible. There are some that are actually pretty good. Although Juliet's transformation later on in the film, it's like I said, it's CG, but at least it's actually pretty good. It looks gnarly. And it looks disgusting, but hey, that's pretty much the whole point of this film, is just make it look gross. But hey, they did somewhat of a good job. Now, however, there's more to it, there's still a lot of things that could just been better, And of course, yes, the dogs are back. And of course, it actually, at the ending, it shows the dog running through the snow. And of course, there's two Norwegians in a helicopter shooting you down. That's at the beginning of the 80s film. Pretty much this explains everything. It explains everything. It's like, it feels like this prequel should have been the 80s version, and the 80s version should have been this. Because then it would have been like a full-on sequel. But, things just didn't work out. But in the end, this film is just, it would have had a lot of potential, but no. Now, however, there are some things that I didn't like in this film. Like you said, there's Juliet's transformation in the film that's actually pretty good. There's the plot. There's the genius ways of showing who's the thing and who's not, by doing this time looking for fillings in their teeth. And of course, the previous film looks a lot easier, doing the blood test. This one, they didn't want to copy a lot of things. So, in the end, the film didn't really do as much as you think. So, anyways, so I got nothing else to say. Let's get into the final rating. So in the end, there was a lot that was to this film, and there was a lot taken away from it. And of course, the CG is pretty much what taken away this film from being good. Now, of course, there are some scenes that are actually pretty good, but you know, it just ruined it for me. So in the end, I'm gonna give this film a 4 out of 10 because it pretty much, and of course, mainly because of the good scenes that made it go up to. I would have given it 5. But then there was just a lot to it that was just kind of pushing it. And yeah, so anyways, yes, thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Review of Movies. And of course, in a few days, which will be the next episode, I'll be covering Dante's Peak. So hope you guys are prepared for that. But yeah, so this film, it just didn't do well for me. But yeah, so anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye everyone.